Welcome back to Dark Knight's Tales podcast, a podcast dedicated to horror fans around the world. I'm your host, Tanis Clark, and I'm now glad to present The Museum, written by Jaydeep Shah and performed by Tanis Clark and Sean Anthony. A museum's proprietor was traveling to different countries to discover historical statues, swords, and many other things to put them in his museum. One day, he found a sword of a king from the ruins of a palace. Nevertheless, he didn't know that he had brought about the death of himself and others. He placed the sword in his museum and displayed it prominently to attract more visitors. Many people started visiting the museum to see that sword only. The sword had become an allure for all visitors in just 2 days. The sword was sharp, lengthy, and its handle was made of original diamonds. In the nighttime, the sword came out of the museum all on its own. Security struggled to catch it, but the guards were killed by the sword. Then the sword went to the owner's home. The owner heard a doorbell and went to the hall to open the door. However, he did not see anyone there and closed the door. When he turned around, he saw the sword hovering in front of him. The owner sprinted to his room. The sword tried to break the owner's bedroom door, but it couldn't. The sword entered the room by breaking a window instead. Before the owner could run out of the room, the sword went across the owner's stomach and clove his neck. The sword then returned to the museum. Some parents who had forgotten their daughter in the museum returned to bring her back, but it was too late. The museum was already closed, and no one was there. The girl went to the restroom, sobbing. The sword followed her. When the girl entered the restroom, the sword began breaking everything, such as doors and glasses. The girl was frightened. She screamed for help, but the sword cut her into tiny pieces. When her parents entered the museum by breaking a lock on the museum's main entrance, the sword killed them too by cutting off their hands, ears, and legs. Even after that, the sword resumed its place where it had been displayed and awaited more victims.
Thank you for listening to this episode. This story was originally published in The Revenge, Book 1 of Horror Story series. If you enjoyed listening to this story, consider buying The Revenge. We will be back next week with one more scary tale. In the meantime, listen to our previous episodes of Dark Knight's Tales podcast and check out the author's website, www.jaydeepshah.com.